situation that actually Pig was describing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, but we're gonna get on right into it. This is the start of this best of 5, spawning in the top right of Data C, representing his new team, Onside Gaming. It is Maru.
And down over here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have our blue Protoss player representing Team NV. He is Creator.
This is such an awesome one. Like the fact that these guys literally go back to being 14, 15, playing in a team house with Pig of all people, watching them play. Like I remember when Prime, it had MKP being the best player on it, Creator very close behind him around that period of time, and had his absolute godlike runs in certain tournaments, but he's been away for quite a long time. Not because he's been away, it's just because his results just haven't been there. His like mentality can really get the better of him, but these last few months, the last 6 months for Creator, potentially a phoenix from the ashes, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree that it's not that Creator has, say, done what a lot of other players have done, where it's like, oh, he went for a military service and has, you know, returned after a few years or something. It's actually been that Creator's been playing, but he hasn't necessarily been at the absolute top level that he was in 2012 when he won that kind of WCS event and everything. Whereas Maru has been pretty close to the top for many, many years now. And I think that is what does give him a lot of favoritism in a lot of people's eyes. And it's not necessarily that Maru doesn't win events, it's that he hasn't really won the offline events outside of Korea, even though he's gotten quite close to it. Even in like 2018 or so, he was able to, you know, get some second places and stuff, but just clinching out that finals has been a problem. Actually, the last time he did it, funny enough, was versus Dark. So if he ends up winning this, might end up going on to face off versus Dark for the kind of rematch there.
And that'd be cool. This is already a bit interesting, by the way, from Maru. So he actually went for a high ground expansion. He went for his second depot before the CC as well. So he locked in that probe. The probe still gets a CC. He's incredibly safe. He also skipped out on doing an SCV scout. So what we see here is Maru playing greedy when it comes to not scouting, but also playing incredibly safe, based on the fact that he didn't scout. Now this Reaper gets a probe in his own base. Now gets to do some scouting on that side of the map, and this is so annoying. Using the Nexus to just dance around against the Reaper, or rather he had it.
Yeah, using that Reaper to dance around and doing a great job with it. Maru always known for a bit of that micro, and can see a tiny bit of it even at the start of this series. Doesn't end up getting any probes. Creator doing a nice job on the defense with that Adept. Shades in finishes that Reaper, pushes it back far enough that it's not able to do a whole lot until it moves back in later on. Finds the scout out on the Twilight Council before finally dying, but it did its job. Maru's in the know.
Absolutely, and that's a big deal. I love using that little mine as well, just to deny mining, even just for a moment, just getting everything you can out of every possible unit. So we do see that it is going to be Widow Mines on the field, followed by a medevac. And this is going to be rather quick, but Creator on the other side of things, going up to 3 gates, along with a very fast blink himself. We saw earlier in the tournament, I believe one of the first series, Mana against Vindictor on this exact map, and it was kind of similar positions, where you can really utilize the fact that there's a very big open space in the main of the Terran base to blink into. So I wonder what he's going to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there has been a strong reason why a lot of Protoss players have been favoring those kind of blink styles on these more recent maps, especially maps like Data C or Moondance. But we'll see how effective it's going to be with Creator going for something like that. He's not going hard, committed Blink Stalker attacks. He's not doing some sort of like 4-gate with a Warp Prism and everything. This is going to be a lot lighter, but first he's going to have to actually deal with the Widowmine drop that's heading across the map. At the same time, that some Marines do a little move out over here. Now, yes, the Stalkers are all prepared so far, but how is he going to handle it when actually some of those Marines start showing them faces as well?
These Stalkers are pretty decently placed, and I mean, the Marine, it looks like it was just looking for the Adept. Okay, 2 Widow Mines do go down. Nice little spread, nice little burrow to back it up. Every time you can deny mining like that, it's a great move. Creator's not reacting at all. Oh my goodness, that is not what you want to have happen. I was watching for Creator's face to see if he reacted. Not a flinch on him.
Maybe expected after their last GSL match. This is a little bit roughly how it went last time as well, although he did manage to snipe off the medevac. That is actually a pretty big victory and ends up killing off every single one of the Widow Mines in the process. So there is a little bit there, but when a Protoss player and a Terran player are even on workers at this stage in the game, Protoss players are usually not too happy. So he's going to look to try and get something done with these Stalkers across the map.
I think he got kind of fooled there, because most Widowmine drops early on. It's only 2 Widowmines. So I think when he was dealing with the 2, he totally didn't anticipate the 3rd, even though he absolutely should have been looking there. But yeah, well played by Maru, and he starts things off very strong. That bunker at the front, also going to do its job, denying a little bit of damage, but Creator's done a good job of just getting his probes out, and he wants to be very aggressive. That follow-up charge, very quick, the Warp Prism on the way too, and that's quite a few gateways. He's looking to be very aggressive.
Yeah, going to be going up to a total of 6 for now, alongside that Warp Prism with charge finishing on up. So Stalkers try and poke and prod a little bit, get a sense of things, also get a sense of maybe where some of the structures and stuff are, so he knows how he actually wants to try and take this engagement. Maru, I mean, it's not exactly like he has a 3rd base on the way, so it's not like he's Creator can really wait for some kind of move out to establish a 3rd base. I kind of wonder what's going to be the big plan over here. Is he just really going to try and bust into the natural expansion with all these charge lots as soon as that Warp Prism gets across the map?
I think so, and this scan in the natural, it doesn't reveal much. Like, you didn't get to see any tech, but you got to see that there was a gas missing. That usually leads to only one thing, that they're not going into Robo, they're going pretty hard into the gateway units. And if there's one weakness of Creator's style, it's if Maru doesn't move out, which he's going to do. But Creator also, he's playing a style that he kind of wants to keep his opponent at home, so that 3rd base can really pay off, because this army, this Terran army, is actually quite scary.
It absolutely is, and the Prism is going to have an opportunity to now try and move into the main base. Let's see if Maru reacts, if he's going to pull anything back. He identifies that this is going to be an annoying attack, but he has a lot of Bioforces actually inside the main base. Widowmine also going off on some of these Zealots, and it seems like he's going to be able to continue the attack on the other side of the map. Force Field's locking out a lot of the Bioforces, but the Auto Turrets buying the space that the rest of the Bio needs to move forward. Siege Tank Siege a little bit too far back to actually get involved on attacking that Nexus, but the Bio doing a great job zoning this army back, and the shield battery has to be popped.
Oh, I mean, Creator, he's got the right units to deal with this. I mean, the Stalkers do blink on through, and he does take out one of the tanks. The 2nd tank is staying alive for a long time. The Immortal wasn't focusing it, but he does deflect the attack. He stays alive. But with all this, he's not been taken up whatsoever. We see now that he's getting some gases down, the Templar Archives, the Forge, but Maru has caught up on that 3rd base. Supplies fairly even, and I'm a little bit worried if this game, if Creator doesn't get something going in the next couple of minutes, because Maru's next follow-up, he's getting such an early Ghost Academy, he's going to be looking fierce with this next push.
Yeah, that attack, the whole charge lot setup that we were talking about, it almost turned into a committed defense rather than a committed attack. And that does mean, like you were saying, the follow-ups there, the Templar Archives and whatnot, are a little bit slower. Templar Archives about to finish up, but this Bioforce is looking to poke in once again. The Stalkers coming in from behind, but realize they do not want to engage directly against that Bio. Charge lot's going to try and buy a little bit of space. I love the hot pickup there with the Warp Prism on that weakened charge lot. And we do see the Templar Archives finish up. Storm gonna be started up almost immediately, and both of these players are able to establish a 3rd base safely.
Definitely a cute little snipe there on the Raven. Like, he got that, got out of there, then he knew he could take the engagement pretty fairly, and he does hold Maru off. The thing is, he's going for Storm here with the High Templars, and we already see that Ghosts are on the way. So this isn't a reaction by Maru. He's like, oh no, you got High Templars, I have to go into Ghosts. No, he's already ready for this. Getting the EMP upgrade as well. I feel that all the cards are in Maru's favor here, and he, again, just worried for Creator. He's going to give him a 4th base behind all this, though.
Yeah, he is going to be trying to get that up. Also throws down a robotics base. Storm can be a really effective tool, but especially we've seen Protoss players starting to shy away a little bit more from it. It's just players like Maru sometimes make you look almost a little bit foolish when you're relying on Storm for those kind of defenses. We're going to see what Creator can muster with the defensive capabilities up on this high ground over here. Force fields being thrown down. Charge lot's not quite able to engage into that Bio, but the Bio having a hard time moving up the ramp.
Yeah, certainly those force fields almost worked in Maru's favor there, and you could see him kind of hugging them just so the Zealots couldn't deal damage, but he could deal as much damage. And big juicy Storm does land to start things off, and while it did deal damage and it keeps Maru away, that Warp Prism taking damage. That's actually a really big deal for later on in this game.
Yeah, that Warp Prism has so much utility, not only later on, but even now, it's actually what's been moving these High Templars around, keeping them a little bit safe. Also versus things like EMP, there comes out another pretty decent Storm, softens up a lot of these Marauders, the Immortals on the back line, able to push those units back as well. More ghosts being added into the mix over here, and Maru has been capitalizing on this 1-1 upgrade advantage for all of these fights. +1 weapons is about to finish up for Creator. Combine that with some of these storms, I mean, Creator does look like he's doing a decent job taking some okay fights over here. He needs a little bit more time to gather up more energy for storms, though.
But you can see his bank, right? It's like 1k minerals, and he just walked in 5 zealots. So all this pressure, the speed of Maru, the pace that he's throwing at his opponent, it is really slowing Creator down. And that's what Maru wants. He wants to be in your face, get in the head, and he's doing all the tech up behind it as well. He's not stuck on this. And one Colossus does pop out here. Some nice EMPs do obliterate the shields of his opponent. Creator's doing a good job of just holding on, though.
Yeah, if he holds on a little bit longer, Shield Battery Overcharge is also going to be available. It seems like he might have enough units that he's not going to need to pop that, but these EMPs definitely taking off a lot of those shields very, very quickly. Nice charge lots, actually being able to set off some of those Widow Mines. A little bit of friendly fire there on Maru, but well, some of these retreating Widow Mines not doing too poorly themselves.
No, definitely not. Creator, for the first time in this game, he's kind of caught up in supply, naturally overtaking here. The supply a little bit deceiving, though, because if we look at the upgrade tab, we have +2/2 on the way for Maru. That is a massive deal. Oh, I didn't realize that Creator actually got his second forge. That's great for him. So he will be able to catch up on those upgrades. He's getting a 5th base as well. And he's added some more AoE to his army with the disruptors. So Maru, he hasn't been able to counter the Colossus just yet. You see those Vikings getting ready, but he's already switching into another AoE entirely, which Maru doesn't yet have an answer for.
Yeah, I actually love that, being able to use those Colossus just to force a little bit of a reaction there from Maru and immediately switch on out into those disruptors is going to be pretty annoying for Maru to deal with. And those disruptors actually a really key component for a lot of Protoss players, and being able to push back a lot of those ghosts. The ghosts get those big EMPs off if they're able to get a little bit closer to that Protoss death ball. But the disruptors can do a really great job of kind of zoning them away.
I guess one of the scary parts for Creator here is the fact that +2 is finishing up, which will extend that upgrade lead, if you will. And Maru, he's the kind of player as well. Most Terrans, you know they're going to be coming at you, but they're going to be coming at you with absolutely everything. Maru's doing the tech up thing behind it. He actually isn't that afraid of the late game. I know he said he didn't want to be there, but he's still not afraid of it. And he's just sharking around here. He's seeing where he can get stuff done, barely using mules, always using scans to find out where his opponent is and find where the holes and the weaknesses are of his opponent.
Maru is a master of late game control, and he definitely showed it in that GSL group. We're going to see if he can make it happen over here in this fight. EMP blankets the entire army. The disruptor shot will just snag a few units over there. It doesn't manage to do a whole lot more other than zone back this army. Zealot's running straight past the bunker that only has a single Marine inside of it, so they're going to be able to find a couple of SCV kills. Maybe distract Maru a little bit as Maru pulls his entire army back home, not wanting to have to, deal with a big army fight while also handling the Zealots.
Yeah, interesting move by Maru to kind of give up the pressure a little bit, but he is getting extra orbitals, he's getting extra bases, adding on the second starport as well. He's already gone into the air upgrades, which will help if he goes into the Liberators, but the fact that he's kind of allowing Creator onto the map, if you will, that is a bit of a scary position, because as soon as these run-bys start losing control and getting into every base of you, that's where you're in trouble. And Creator, he survived.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with it. I love these Widow Mines just being spread out everywhere. They're softening up some of these Zealots, with Storm actually trying to zone out this army from moving up to the high ground. Disruptor shot goes out, but the EMP Disruptor does not survive long enough to have an impact, and Archon getting taken out. Soon thereafter, the Nexus looks like it is going to end up falling. Creator doesn't really have the army he needs here to defend this base.
Where was Creator looking while this was going on? His army was not in position at all. He was kind of anticipating that those few High Templars could maybe hold Maru off, but Maru's so quick to doing things. Look at this. Has a Widow Mine in position, has the bunker as well. Nicely tucked in there as well, making a little wall with that depot. Maru's back in the driver's seat this game, and I don't think in his eyes he ever lost that.
Yeah, really surprising that he seems so, like you said, a little bit unprepared for that, especially since I think he does have an observer around the area. He's now moving it out of position, but it was kind of in that area where he should have been able to see that coming. Big EMPs also coming off again on all those frontline units there of Creator. We're going to see Creator starting to tease that engagement, trying to use these disruptors to find something over here, even just a couple of ghosts that are moving a bit too far forward for those EMPs. But both these players being awfully patient about this, not taking the engagement unless they think that they can win it. And looks like Maru feels like with some good splitting, he might be able to do something over here, but there are so many disruptor shots and storms being added into the mix. Is there enough gateway to back up those splash damage units, though?
I don't think there is, Ravi. Here, look at that. All the disruptors are out, and Maru, he smells blood in the water. He lands his Vikings. He's getting damage done. If he takes down this base, Creator's down to 4 bases, and yet again, but these are some nice disruptor shots, and you can tell, oh my goodness, that is so much Protoss Storm.
It really is. It's such a weird trade, too, to Muslim, because if you think about it, most of the disruptors, yeah, a few of them may have died, but a lot of them end up surviving. The Colossus ends up surviving. A few of the High Templar end up surviving. The units that went down, while expensive stalkers, they're not the high-tech units that the Protoss really doesn't want to lose. Whereas Maru kind of ended up losing pretty much everything he had there, including a lot of his ghosts.
Yeah, he did, but I think he took the fight well enough. And we have to consider that he did kill a base right before that as well.
Yeah.
And look what he's switching into. +2 air weapons is almost done. 4 Liberators at a time with Liberator range. And Creator, he's been struggling with dealing with Maru despite having all that AoE that he has with just a ground army. Liberators coming into the mix as well. This is going to really tax Creator's multitasking.
And that's going to be something he needs to stay on top of against Maru. I would also love to see Creator find some of the resources available to start up some of those 3-3 upgrades. I know he's got his +1 shields on the way, but Maru's had that 3-3 finish up for a bit, and it's also going to just be making all of these engagements a little bit harder, making it hard for those disruptors to survive long enough to get off their shots, for those stalkers to have the time to blink back micro against all that DPS. But we'll see if he can actually find some of the resources, because like you said, he is a bit strapped for cash after losing some of those bases.
Nukes are on the way, along with the medevac upgrades. That's when you know a Terran's feeling pretty good about the game, when you can actually afford to go into things like that. But this is when a Protoss gets a bit uncomfortable, because it's like, wait, the Terran's meant to be attacking me right now. And this is when Maru's like, you know what? I don't really need to do that. Let's play map control, zone control style. He's got sensor towers here, there, and everywhere that you can see pretty much the whole north of the map and lots of the middle. And now Creator, he's got to try and get back home. But how do you do it when you're being chased down by Maru? And now Maru's kind of like, this is like 2 boxes in the ring. Maru's trying to get him into the corner here, trying to get him from just one angle, because that's where Liberators work absolutely best.
Yeah, he's trying to find that angle over here. A lot of these Liberators already sieged up and are going to be able to get a ton of shots off on some high target value units there. A couple of those disruptors going to be falling very, very fast, and we end up seeing EMPs also coming off on those stalkers, making it even easier for those Liberators to actually contend with their natural nemesis in this situation.
Okay, he's got him up the ramp. This is exactly where he wanted him. He was like a sheep herder, just sending him up there. And now Creator, he's looking at this and he's like, okay, you've actually got me exactly where you wanted, didn't you? And this is Maru being a little bit of a puppet master. Ooh. I love this. This is exactly what Creator needed to do, though. Come from 2 angles. Those Liberators, they can't turn around easily.
They definitely cannot. The Storm's actually stopping up so many of those Liberators as well. We end up seeing the rest of the army from Creator trying to move down that ramp through the Liberator zones. He manages to clean up a majority of the Liberators. The Bioforce still doing quite a lot of damage, but the Disruptors plus the Colossus on the back lines doing so much damage. Almost all of them end up falling. It's such a trade, but Creator looks like he's going to be a lot further down in supply at the end of it.
Yeah, he did a good job with that flank at the top there, because if not for that, I think he'd have been dead in the water. 10k resources lost disparity here. Maru does have to replenish on a lot of those valuable units, like the Ghost and the Liberators, but the thing is, he lost a lot of bio as well, which means the next army is just going to have more of the things that Creator doesn't want to play against.
Such a tough spot now here for Creator, because he needs to figure out how does he make the right units to try and mount some kind of comeback, because he has just been trading cost inefficiently like you were talking about. And alongside, you know, more of those disruptors in the Colossus, he's going to be going for a mothership, which may have been started, you know, at the beginning of that last engagement. I don't know if he would be going, I don't know. How do you feel about the mothership in this situation?
You know what? I don't really like it, but given that he's on 86 probes, I also don't mind him taking trades and engaging here, there, and everywhere, because he does want to make sure that Maru isn't just trying to herd him into a position. Maybe the mothership can help with that kind of stuff. Maybe it can actually go for some offensive recalls if he's super crazy, or throwing down a time warp in a fight. It could be the key.
Yeah, I'd love to see something like that if you can mount those kind of attacks. Mothership is about to pop as some Zealots going to be heading over not only to the main base of this little drop, but also denying mining over the top left-hand side where Maru's army is absolutely not. Maru heading down to the southeast-hand side is going to be trying to shut down one of those newer bases of Creator. Not a whole lot of competition to shut down this base, as even Liberators don't even feel the need to actually siege up. They kind of know that base is on lockdown.
Creator actually hit all his probes in the southeast corner there, so he actually gets away with keeping most of them alive. Oh no, he doesn't. Maru too good for that, but Creator, he's like, you know what, I took a little bit of damage, I'm going to deal a little bit of damage. Denies a base over here, reveals the mothership. Now, Maru, I was kind of expecting a reaction, but obviously I wasn't really.
I mean, you have to go and do like the full zoom in to see the Maru reactions. He has micro expressions, not macro expressions.
At this point, Creator's probe count definitely softened up, and these Liberators, the only thing he has to answer them are the Stalkers. And if he fights this from just one angle, he's in a lot of trouble. But Creator, I like this. Forcing his opponent to siege up and then running away and using the Disruptors to deal the damage for you. It's a very smart way of trying to engage this, and it's his way of trying to trade more efficiently in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great sort of solution to this style that Maru has been going for with all of these Liberators. And the fact that he's doing it in the middle of the map is extremely important. He's not in a situation where you can't move back at all. And ooh, great storm there from the Warp Prism High Templar combo. Disruptor also contained to zone this army back. He's both creating a little bit of room for himself so that he can move back a little bit as soon as those Liberators start sieging up. But you know, he's also regaining that room. It's the dance back and forth, but he's controlling the center.
Actually, he was using that pillar to great effect, right? The Liberators can only defend one side at a time, takes out an orbital for his troubles. He's the one that needs a little bit of time, because he's not actually maxed out here. Going for Tempest, those are going to be his answer for these Liberators. And if he does continue playing this very patient style, oh my god, he actually ran more than into that, and that Liberator field. That is not something you can afford to fight in.
That was a little bit rough, but the Mothership survives, as do a majority of those high-value Protoss units. This is becoming a little bit of a choke point to try and engage around, and in some ways it's going to favor those Liberators, but it also makes it complicated for the Bio to move forward against the Disruptors. Mothership is going to end up falling right then and there, so all the little advantages he was getting from that going to be going away. No more scans going to be forced on out, and Maru is gaining a lot more ground with this pushing in. Creator not able to push him back, and even the Tempest having a hard time getting those free shots off.
You know what kind of sucks for Creator? The fact that he made that Mothership kind of forced out the Vikings already, and now he's got the Vikings ready for that lone Tempest in the sky, so comes to join the fight. Already probably going to get sniped down very quickly, but Creator is actually chasing him up a ramp here. I don't hate it, but purely because there's no liberation zones, but Maru, he is ready to pounce now.
Yeah, some great Disruptor hits going off at the beginning of that fight, but a lot of gateway units going down in exchange for it. The Bioforce is stimmed up and ready to pounce. The Liberators also sieging on up. EMP is going off on literally everything, and we see Maru starting to double Creator in supply. That engagement was not the engagement the Creator was looking for, and he is going to have to tap out. GG. Maru takes the first game.
And he made it look smooth, man. Like, he got to a point in the game where a lot of Terrans don't feel that comfortable, right? Like the late game. And he just shut down absolutely everything his opponent was doing. And he kind of bullied him around too, which you can't often do. So Maru, he kind of is one of the only people that's willing to go the distance here. And he never feels pressured. And it always makes you, as a Protoss player, feel so weird. Because it's like, you're meant to be killing me now. And he's not doing that. And it's like, oh, you're getting bigger and stronger and you're using an army better than anyone else. Very difficult Terran to go up against.
It's so scary when you're up against a Terran player that is not afraid of the late game and has such meticulous control, but also so much patience in all of these engagements. He's willing to do this dance back and forth for minutes at a time. And it just makes it so frustrating. It's so easy as a Protoss player to kind of lose your cool there and just say, I think that your Liberators are unsieged. Let me go ahead for an aggressive blink, and suddenly the Bio forces just stim up. Suddenly they're pouncing on your Disruptors, and it's kind of a massive disaster at that point. So it's going to be interesting to see how Creator deals with this style moving to game number 2, or if he's just going to try and actually avoid it a bit by doing something a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, considering how that game started off, though, like a triple or 3 Widowmines in a medevac killed 10 probes or something, that gives me a lot of hope for Creator. Because before this series, I had no idea, really, Creator's now form, right? Because he is such a volatile player when it comes to what is his mental state. And going up against Maru, that can put the fear in the best of us, you know? Even the likes of Reina and Cell don't like to do it. But for Creator, the fact that he was able to make that a game where he had more than a decent shot, I feel, yeah, I'm hopeful for him.
I am definitely hopeful for him as well. He put up a really, really good, solid effort there. And man, I also gotta just commend Maru because he's had a heck of a day, man. He's been playing a long, long series earlier today, and now also ready to just engage in another long series. He's not afraid of that late game, like you said. He's not afraid of just, I mean, this to him, I guess this is just like his normal play style to play these long style games. So it's pretty amazing just the stamina on this young man.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Maru, actually, one thing, I was watching him on stage a little bit when he was playing Reina, and he's so relaxed, man. Like, he's not, I was like, where are your legs? And then I realized he sat cross-legged, just kind of slumped down in his chair, just absolutely owning. And I was like, oh my goodness, not many people can do that. But we're getting into it. On, inside, and out. Spawning over in the bottom left. He is the Red Terran. It is Maru.
And over here in the top right-hand side of the map, the blue Protoss player from Team NV. Give it up for Creator.
Definitely a bit of a fan favorite here. Like, he's been so emotional when he wins, like displaying such enthusiasm, obviously absolutely enjoying the crowd, getting top 4 here. Already an amazing result for him. And he's been a real warrior too. Like, he's been battling and doing a real damn good job. But Maru, this is his first super difficult opponent because there's a few favorites here running into the big dog in the semifinals. It's going to be a tough one for him.
Yeah, it is funny. I do feel like at this tournament, Creator and Maru are like emotional opposites in terms of how expressive they are. So it is funny to see them side by side on camera when one of them wins and loses. But we could just get to enjoy that for a few more games. Now we're heading into inside and out. Just to recap on some of the things that we've been seeing different players go for on this map or talk about on this map, there are these kind of wide open spaces in the main base that do kind of allow for nice areas of Blink Stalkers to blink in, where siege tanks can't really cover the entirety of the main base and the natural expansion. There's also some really nice spots for Blink Stalkers to move from the natural, and it'd be from Maru's natural expansion over to the right-hand side. So there's kind of entry and exit pathways on different sides that really open up opportunities for Blink Stalkers to do a bit more than they normally would.
Interesting for Maru, by the way. Like, he took SCVs off the gases here, so he's doing this very much like a TVT opening, the gas first, or rather the double gas kind of thing, and now a Reaper into reactor immediately. He is up to no good here, Ravi. And I love this kind of stuff. He went and checked with the SCV to see if the probe was still there, realizing, oh, you recalled it? Okay, Reaper straight across the map. Let's waste no time with this.
Reaper's going to be heading up into the main base right about now, getting a scout out, and is going to see something kind of interesting. There is an Adept on the way, but also a Zealot starts up for a moment. Maybe a misclick there from Creator, as he does cancel it and starts up an Adept instead.
I think it was also one of those things where he was trying to say that he didn't have a Stargate because the gas for it. You don't have the gas to make any other unit, so he's anticipating, it's probably a Twilight Council, something like that. But obviously he had the, just because he wanted to show that the gateway was active, you know, building something. So goes back into the Adept, and Maru thus far doesn't really have a clue what he's up against, but maybe not for long.
Yep. Well, Reaper is still trying to maneuver its way around to get some additional scouting information. The Adept not entirely in position to actually force it back this time, but Maru does not want to chance it. He's going to actually back up nice and early on. Phoenix first is going to be the choice here from Creator. So he's going to want to keep this a little bit tight to his chest for a tiny bit longer. There is going to be a Widow Mine drop getting set up with a handful of Marines also being made. Reaper makes its way into the main base, sees the Phoenix as it pops out, sees another Phoenix on the way. He is going to also pick up a probe, which is way more than I thought he would be able to get over there. And that's actually going to help Maru in sort of determining how aggressive he wants to get with this sort of Widow Mine drop.
if he's going to go for a drop. Like, this is one of the things. Like, now that those Phoenix are revealed, there is no reason for Creator to keep a Phoenix at home unless he's super worried about that Widowmine drop. Very often you can run across the map, try and see what's going on in time, though he was against double gas in his head, and it was a double gas where he didn't get to see the SCVs pull off. So he doesn't know that it was kind of a macro-centric opening behind it. So I'm a bit like, he must be quite worried about what he's up against, but he will go and confirm and see what he's up against and try and be rather careful. But running across that Widowmine, that's a bit juicy already.
Yeah, softens up one of those Phoenix, also takes the shields off the other one as well, so have to be a bit careful about those Widowmines in the future, otherwise he might end up losing the other one.
Liberator? He's mental.
Against a Phoenix player. That, you know, Maru's bold. I'm going to give him that. I'm just going to put it as Maru's very bold.
It's super cool as well, because like, in Maru's mind, going this is the most unexpected thing in the world. And the Phoenix, even if he does have them, they don't deal with it super fast. So the fact that he's doing that, and the Phoenix kind of want to be active on the map, but they're also worried about this Widowmine drop, there's going to be so much going through Creator's mind, and Maru is just, he's kind of messing with him a little bit. This is some of the infuriating stuff that you can go up against and just be like, you did that? You shouldn't have done that. Like, it would be so mad going up against it, but look at this. This Phoenix flying in between the army and past the Liberator as well. That is very unfortunate for Creator.
Creator missing it, and also now not going to actually find the main source, the bulk of the army making its way forward to the front. Ben, I don't see a shield battery at the front. That concerns me right now.
Oh, and even more than that, depowering this this Immortal from popping out. And these Phoenix, they're dealing with this army at the front. There's still a Widowmine that's not yet blown up, meaning these Phoenix, they can't do anything. Liberator in the main. This is where we could see Creator start to fall apart here.
Oh, Creator finally just looked at the main base. He sees the Liberator. He's pulling away from those units. The shield battery finishes up inside the natural expansion as well, but he is going to get just target fired down, and Maru is out for blood. Already sitting up 1-0. He goes up 2-0. Amazing start there for Maru.
And we're starting to see Creator physically kind of fall apart a little bit, and that's why I was really excited about that Liberator, because he said he doesn't really want to mess with them emotionally and mentally and stuff, but that kind of build there, it's one where you're like, I have all the tools to deal with that. Like, I absolutely have all the tools, except he just outplayed the absolute living crap out of me. I love it by Maru. He looks across the stage, he's like, I made him real mad. He's even off the stage right now.
He left the desk, I think it might be taking a quick bathroom break or something along those lines, but that is going to definitely be a tough loss there for Creator. I think that after the first game where Maru had this really, really frustratingly patient and meticulous style, game number 2, Maru throwing out stuff like that and just catching him so off guard in multiple different ways, even just honestly getting a little bit lucky as well with the Liberator barely not being scouted, the main army barely not crossing the pathway of the Phoenix and everything. Things just worked out really well for Maru. And now Creator's just down 2-0 against Maru, right? You have to win 3 games in a row against Maru. For anybody in the world, that's hard.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Maru's making that look. Like, the first game looked like a battle. That second game absolutely didn't. And I don't know what's going through Creator's mind at this point, but look, is Phoenix totally out of position for everything here? I mean, that was unfortunate for him. And getting into this position, only having one pylon on this robo at the front, he had no idea this was crossing the map until it got to his base. And with Phoenix, that's an absolute blunder. You make these because they're meant to be all-knowing. They're meant to keep the Terran at bay, or at least see what's happening. Then having the Liberator pop up too, that was 2 things that crossed the map without you having a clue about it. And yeah, that was the beginning of the end. And I think here we'll see on this camera, you see him crumble just a little bit physically there.
Yeah, I mean, you can just imagine in that situation, if you're a Creator, if you know that that attack is coming even just a little bit earlier, you're maybe starting up your shield batteries a little bit faster. Maybe you're trying to force the engagement closer to this, the top of the ramp, just so that the robotic facility isn't exposed. And maybe you get out the Immortal at that point. Maybe your shield battery finishes up a little bit faster, and now those 2 units pair together. Your Phoenix are able to get in position and maybe pick off some of those Widowmines without just setting them off immediately. There's so many little things you can do if you know that attack is coming as it's moving out.
Yeah, definitely. Creator just needs to reset a little bit here. Like, he's still in the same position that he once was. He still has to win 3 maps against Maru. That doesn't change. The distance doesn't get further that you've got to go. Just now, no mistakes from this point on. He can't be doing that kind of stuff. He can't fall for these tricks and these shenanigans. And Maru, I think he's got Creator right where he wants him. A little bit flustered, a little bit messed up mentally. You know, these were childhood friends by the sounds of it, being in the same team house and stuff, but this is war for Maru. He wants what has been a while is kind of feels like his first championship on foreign soil where he really gets to prove himself. I know he did it at WSG, but over in Europe, on LAN, it's been a while.
It really has. Even that WSG was quite a while ago, so it will be actually pretty meaningful for Maru to be able to take this series. There is actually a good bit on the line. If he can make it to that finals, have another shot at that international championship on non-Korean soil. And same thing for Creator. If he can somehow turn this series around, get a little bit of revenge for that GSL group stage that he had recently, I think that's going to go a long way for him. And also just, you know, Zombie was kind of talking about this before. Creator, strong player, absolutely. Made second place in the last season of GSL, but it's consistency that I think a lot of people really want to see from someone like Creator, and I think that's the thing that he can also try to prove at this kind of event.
Yeah, with fourth place, he's done it, but Maru can make the best of us look very, very bad, and I say that from experience. I didn't do well against Maru in my history, but we're getting into it. Stargazers spawning over in the top right as our Red Terran. It is Maru.
And up here in the top left-hand side of the map, the blue Protoss player labeled the last man standing, but also the last Protoss standing. He is Team NV's Creator.
I've been loving his run throughout this tournament so far. Like, up until this point, he's been playing exceptional. That first game against Maru, like I said, after losing 10 probes to make it a real game like he did, very good. All right. This barracks position, a little bit different than the previous games. Now, he can't lock him in with, or can't lock the probe in this time, which already allows Creator to play, most likely saving this probe, getting out of there. So maybe for him, gets to play his own game for once, without being in the dark, without being trapped, and all the timings are kept the same, because, you know, these guys have played thousands of games. Keeping that probe number the same as you have done in all your practice games, that's a great way to start, keeping it alive too, not having to recall it like you did in the previous game. And yeah, different game already. And this is the map that we thought, and we have felt from the pro gamers and what they've said is a good map for Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. This all does come at the cost of having to go for a pylon scout with this probe. So we end up seeing the probe getting in there nice and safely, but it's going to be able to escape on out. The reason why a lot of players have been talking about this map being so good, I think even Big Gabe, Hero Marine, was saying one of the reasons why he actually likes vetoing this map versus Protoss is just if you control that Xel'Naga Watchtower in the center, not only do you get a ton of vision over the potential big drop paths and stuff that Terran players would go for, or, you know, Liberators actually, as we saw in that last game, but that also gives you high ground of your opponent's in-base natural, and that allows Blinkstalkers to move in from so many different angles. It is very difficult to be prepared for a big Blinkstalker attack, and, you know, so far we haven't actually seen a larger commitment to Blinkstalkers from Creator in the openings. You saw like the 2-gate Blinkstalker opening, that last game going into the Phoenix. I'm really curious if Creator's going to try and double down on that on this kind of map.
It's a bit of a tough one to do it. Like, look where Maru's making his natural, by the way. So he's going to be clearing out those minerals to take the very, very safe expo. That means he doesn't have to worry about a ramp. And this kind of stuff with a gateway on the map, this is kind of perfect for Maru. Because being able to defend his main base with that pocket base in the back, that is a nice way for him to start things off. But it doesn't mean he's out of the woods or anything just yet, because there's many ways to go about this, Ravi. Maybe we'll see something like an early robo, and he'll get to do something with a warp prism and be proper nifty. But seeing that second gateway and seeing no tech, Maru's already probably thinking, a bit cheeky, are you, mate?
Yep. There's going to be a robo finally slapped on down to complement the couple of gateways that are coming on up, but there's not going to be a blink opening or anything along those lines. These units are going to be coming out hard and fast from Creator, try and get some damage done. Widowmine set up at the front, and like you were talking about, Ben, it is Maru defending a high ground ramp in this situation right now. He doesn't really have to worry about defending a larger choke point or the kind of awkward natural expansion that you normally would have to defend against.
Oh no, those Widowmines. Okay, I was worried about that top one locking onto that first one, and then the second one locking onto the bottom. I was like, that was going to be a worst case scenario. We'll go for a little bit of a drop here, and Creator's kind of revealed what he's going for.
Yeah.
But this, you know, taking that Widowmine that had a shot available, I think that was a bit of a mistake from Maru, actually. Yeah. But the tank is out, won't be dealing too much damage for Creator, but he's definitely given away what he's going for, which is a lot of aggression.
Yeah, bit funny that we end up seeing that, and now we end up having the recall back. Should be able to deal with both the Widowmine and the Medevac. Medevac does actually manage to escape out of there alive narrowly, although it is quite low on hit points, might be sniped off a bit later. Behind all this, though, Maru establishes that in-base natural expansion and is able to get mining up and operational over there. Also gets up a Raven and is going to be pretty secure against a lot of different forms of aggression. But that Warp Prism, kind of like the actual big intention of this 3-gate robo here from Creator, is still yet to be revealed.
Certainly is, but if we're looking at this just very theoretically, the Raven against this kind of opening, perfect, absolutely perfect. What's Raven bad against technically? Phoenix openings it can be kind of leery against the Blink Stalker openings as well. I mean, it's a decent thing against most things, but against Robo Bay openings, absolutely perfect for Maru. Now, this is kind of the first time that Creator gets the confirmation on what he's up against, which now he's in the know. Now he can be like, all right, against that kind of expo, it's not some weird one base thing, even though it's super late to be on one base. Gets the know on the Raven as well. That is good for him. Oh, Warp Prism speed.
Warp Prism speed and a Colossus pen are...
Oh, on the gold base. Okay. He's going double expo, actually. Oh,
yes.
He took a page out of Hero's book earlier. Go 2-0 down, they go crazy.
You know what? Creator is throwing the book out. He had a little bit of time. He walked away from his PC and said, you know what? No, I'm not going out like this. He's going to go ahead and throw caution to the wind and just go for broke on this, and I love to see it. Warp Prism speed is about to finish up. The first Colossus has just finished up. He knows what he's up against as well. As those Sea Shanks get siege on up. Got a Colossus drop on the way, Ben. It's been a hot second since I've seen one of these, but these can be so effective against a primarily marine-based composition, which don't exactly have a fun time trying to push back this Colossus drop.
And that's some nice juggling as well to get some extra shots off there. 5 SCVs going down immediately. And this Raven... Yeah, Creator's not falling for it. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to lift up my Colossus. And if you do try and go for the Warp Prism, I'm going to pick up my Colossus right before. That's that's the best start that Creator's had in this series thus far.
It really absolutely is, and he's not done yet. He's still going to be maneuvering around. Has to be careful since the Raven is right there, but look at how fast he's actually picking up and unloading that Colossus to ensure that the Interference Matrix can't lock the Colossus out of the Warp Prism. Is going to be taking a bit of damage on that Colossus from the Sea Shanks, but nothing really too bad. And all of this keeps Maru occupied and at home while the gold base gets up and operational.
This kind of play is the reason I'm bold, Ravi. For years and years, I played against Protosses doing this kind of stuff, man. Like this has me fuming a little bit, but there is a moment here, and I think it's now, where Creator is vulnerable. What kind of units does he actually have out on the field? Because we've got to remember, his tech's pretty small, but 3 Disruptors already out. He was chrono boosting them like a madman, and he's playing an infuriating playstyle.
He is going to have a very scary army in terms of those Disruptors, and on the bridge actually is a great place to abuse this. I love the meeting out here in the middle of the map at the choke point, slowing down this attack. Already, Creator is actually just buying himself time, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. He also spots out the double drop heading over into the main base. How well Creator splits up his units is going to be of the utmost importance, especially since he's supply blocked right now.
Maru's making this so difficult for him, though. Look, there's an army of Creator in the main, ready for this drop that he now spots and gets a bit of a decent Disruptor shot. Now he knows where it is. Maru's sharking him out because he knows that there's a 3rd base on the map. He doesn't know there's a 4th one as well. Oh, these tanks. Very, very nicely positioned by him, and Creator, he's getting shepherded around again.
Yeah, this is getting really, really tough for Creator. He needs to split up his army appropriately, but he still needs to recognize that, yeah, he can just send everything down to that bottom base, because that's where the entirety of Maru is. Maru's going to come stimming on forward, and the Sea Shanks in range of that Nexus. That is a brutal position to try and break as Creator.
Yeah, I mean, the Disruptor's going to try and come forward. He was hoping for a tidbit. But those tanks beautifully positioned behind this rock. If you want to try and hit them with Disruptor shots, you can't. And look at that, Maru's taking a third on location behind this, a relatively safe spot. If, okay, Creator doesn't want to make Maru go down to that south part of the map, because that is absolutely his lifeline here. I mean, Creator is actually far ahead in supply, and his army is scary, but in a head-on engagement could be not what he's after, but with an engagement like this, lovely disruptor shots, and look at that, he's coming in from the right side as well.
He finds the siege tanks on siege, gets magnificent disruptor shots, and forces the army back through the north side, so he doesn't actually end up spotting out the gold base. This could not have actually gone better for Creator than just how it all played out right then and there. And Archon even picking off some of the units still on the retreat back. So many charge lots have actually been warped at this point. Creator has hit his critical mass, and he is ready to go for it. This is still an awkward angle to try and jump up to, but in reality, Creator is still on 3 bases versus a 2-base Maru. He doesn't actually need to move in.
No, he certainly doesn't. But Maru's taking his time here. He's like, you know what? Even if I'm on just 2 bases right now, do I have the third already made? And Maru comes over to this main base to make things a bit scary. No recall available on that main base either. Does snipe the blink as well. Nice moves by Maru.
That's going to be a beautiful pickoff there for Maru. Just sniping off Blink is actually going to be so annoying for Creator because that is going to be his primary way of dealing with drop harassment. I would love, and this of course is never an easy task, but I would love if Creator can maintain control of that zone and watch out for exactly that kind of stuff. Those drops heading up through that north side is so frustrating and annoying. And well, you can actually do your own disruptor drops and things like that if you actually control that as well.
Certainly can. What does Creator have in the main base? All right, he has a nice little stocky army here. I mean, it can still potentially... Oh, my goodness. That was risky, absolutely risky. So Maru, he does secure a third base. He's adding Ghost to his mix. He's got some Liberators as well. So he's getting a really nice army together, and he's really... He's knuckling down on those tanks as well. So he's going for a real defensive setup. If he wants to win this, he has to go to the super late game, which he knows, and he's willing to do that. Oh, Maru, no! Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know, the little icing on the cake there is that Maru was actually busy microing 2 Marines to go down to the gold base. He spots that out, but he's also going to have to be dealing with this attack, so it doesn't matter what's happening to the gold. What matters is happening at this third base location. These disruptors absolutely annihilating the army of Maru. The SCVs have nowhere to run, and neither does Maru. Creator puts one on the board.
Cheeky, Kalaris. That was some very nifty play out of Creator. I like the way that he was able to shift gears. He was trying to play the solid macro games in the first 2, and then he was like, you know what? Hero did it, why can't I? And he did it really well, man. Like, even though a lot of things could have went very badly for him. He went the speed drop Colossus against a Raven opener. Maru had no idea what was going on. Like, that Colossus arrived, dealt a little bit of damage, denied mining as well. Just a very nice switch up by Creator. And also losing that third base, but he still got his third base technically in gold. Great stuff.
Really, really fantastic play there from Creator, and giving us a series that's not just a 3-0. It gets us excited for a game number 4, which we will be heading into right after a short break. So stay tuned for the conclusion of this second semifinals. Maru continuing to maintain a 2-1 lead versus Creator. And we get ready to move into game number 4. Creator finally halting a bit of that momentum from Maru and putting one map on the board. Can he do it again? Can he do it twice in a row? He's gonna have to start with game 4.
I mean, he absolutely is. And I like the fact that he switched up entirely. Like, we saw he was flustered and he walked off the stage, and maybe he shouldn't be doing that in the second game, but whatever he did, it worked for him, because he came back and he was just like, maybe he went and talked to Hero, I swear, because this kind of play here from him, it isn't the Creator that I super know. This fight was beautiful by him, the fact that he was willing to pounce when he did, and he takes a meticulous fight, coming in from the side as well, but yeah, what a mix-up by him, and oh my goodness, the Disruptor shot to end all Disruptor shots.
Yeah, truly magnificent. Everything went really well in that game. In my headcanon, Ben, Creator went to the bathroom, had a little self-halftime show where his internal self gave himself a pep talk. Actually, maybe externally, knowing Creator and how he kind of likes to talk to himself during these matches. But I absolutely agree. He really seems like he's kind of come back with a different mindset for the rest of the series. I think he's going to need the absolute best mindset moving into this next map. The next map is going to be Waterfall, a map that Maru cites as being playable.
Yeah, I love that in his interview as well. It seems
playable for Terran.
Yeah, it's been vetoed the whole tournament against Terran, yeah. You know, like even in the best of 5s and stuff. And it's
Protoss
like,
have a 30% win rate right now versus Terran on this map.
To be fair, the sample size is pretty small for that. But,
that is true.
But still, a ridiculous comment by Maru. But we're going to get into it anyhow. Spawning over the top right, as I read Terran, you know him, you love him, he's Maru. He looks so bored up there, doesn't he? Okay, we are getting a little bit of a pause in the game. That's why the camera's stuck on him for quite so long. A little bit of lag going on for the players. So we're just going to give that a moment to settle. We are at a convention center. Sometimes these things happen. They usually get cleared up very quickly. But yeah, not a time you want to have it happen as Maru. He's still kind of seething from that defeat. That map loss could have been a 3-0 moving into the finals. But every opponent that he's played in the bracket so far, it's been 3-1, 3-1, 3-1.
Yeah. Maybe Maru just trying to keep a little streak there, drop one map, and then close it out nice and clean over there.
It likes to give him a little bit of hope, you know, in the series. He's like,
better to crush them.
Yeah, I'll give you a map win. Now I'll absolutely dominate you.
Like a Shakespearean tragedy, throwing in a few jokes here and there just to tighten the grip and make it even more painful. But yeah, this is going to be still a tough one for Creator. I think that last map, you have to keep in mind that the things that Creator was able to do, I loved what he was able to do in that map. He absolutely gained a bit of momentum there. But let's go back to what he actually did. He did a Colossus drop, snuck a gold base while double expanding at his third base on a map that has an in-base natural. There were so many things that are not necessarily replicable on that map. And a lot of the things that were going wrong in the first 2 games are still applicable as we head into the next game.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been actually kind of dealing with in my mind. Is that something that you can whip out again? Absolutely not, at least not in the same fashion. That goal worked wonders for him. Okay, both the players are ready, waiting for an admin just to say, hey guys, we can start. Where are you, referee? Let's get this going, I want to see some games.
Yeah, I know that the casters, the players, even y'all, who's been working hard all day long, the commentators have been rotating on out, but your loyal observer has been working hard throughout all of these Maru series, and a few of the other ones as well. We're all ready to jump into this next game and get this series underway. See, Maru is also feeling antsy to get started as well. This is going to be a very, very big match here. This map, again, determines whether or not Creator can bring this to a Game 5, or if Maru ascends to the grand finals yet again to face off versus Dark, just as he did way back in the day, the last time he was able to win an international championship at WSG.
Certainly, certainly. I'm just thinking about the things that Creator can do on a map where there isn't a goal base, and how to keep Maru at bay, how to keep him guessing as well what you're doing. Because so far, one thing that Maru's been really good at is scouting and seeing what's going on. But without there being like a random base on the map, because doing that kind of proxy nexus stuff, that is a very tricky thing to be doing and getting away with. And giving up that third in the way that you did as well. Yeah, I'm questioning how many tricks can you have up your sleeve that you can actually beat a guy like Maru with?
Waterfall is not big enough, Ben, to go for a proxy Nexus. As a proxy Nexus enthusiast, I can tell you this is a tough map just because a lot of the bases, there's really not that many options, and all of them are really on the outer edges of the map where it frankly is just going to be very common for, I think, drops and liberators and other things to just kind of be pathing around naturally. It's just the incidental Terran moving across the map for some kind of harassment will end up scouting a lot of those locations regardless of whatever else Creator was hoping for. But looks like the players are ready. We're getting a countdown timer to resume the game. We can jump in, get this game started on Waterfall yet again, game number 4.
It feels such a long time since we've been in a game, you know, but yeah, you introduced him, Ravi.
Here we have in the bottom left-hand side of the map our blue Protoss player from Team Envy, getting a little bit of an extra break there. He is Creator. You do not become the last man standing, Ben, without having some degree of resilience, even being down 0-2.
No, certainly not, certainly not. We've seen some really good reverse sweeps in this tournament against really damn good players, and Hero was almost on the back of doing it twice in a row. Did it against Clem, almost did it against Dark as well. This is going to be a real test for Creator going up against Maru of all people on Waterfall. Maru's been very happy with just not scouting with an SNE, by the way, and just being like, you know what? Let's play these kind of second depot, very early styles, not go for the very orthodox CC on the low ground kind of thing. I wonder if this is the game where he's going to start mixing things up, given that Creator is starting to mix things up himself.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see that as Maru's kind of getting that normal setup up in his main base, we do have a low ground expand there from Creator on his side of the map, where he's grabbing not only the Cyberknife score and the gateway over at the front, but also throwing down that Nexus nice and early on. I do also want to just talk really quickly about Waterfall, just because it is one of the maps that oftentimes has been vetoed throughout this event and stuff, so we've seen it a little bit less, but it does have very big main bases, which I know I keep coming back to Blink Stalkers, but I think it is on a lot of people's minds, just Blink Stalker being a go-to strategy for a lot of people. This is one of those maps where if you have a siege tank at the natural expansion ramp, like, it can't actually even reach the bottom of the main base. It is a very wide open main base and a pretty big natural expansion as well. It's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I'm not 100% about it being the best Blink Stalker map though, just because it takes quite a bit of time to wrap round. Like, even though there is a lot of space in the main base, that speaks to me that it's much better for like warp prisms later on for doing those big warp-ins, or those big Terran Doom drops and things like that. But Maru being a little annoying with this Reaper, does force a shield battery in the main base for Creator, but no probes lost, and that's already a little bit of a tick for Creator here. But the first shot of the Adept isn't on the SEV. It was already damaged a little bit, so if he did get one shot, could have got the second shot, delaying the CC for a little bit. Robo is the tech of choice.
Ah, interesting. Curious to see how this one plays out. I mean, this is a very short distance map, so I do wonder what he's got planned. Reaper's going to move back in toward that natural, gets straight past that first Adept, is going to be able to harass one of these probes and might make its way up to the main base pretty much unabated. Takes a single hit, but scouts out that Robo, does a little bit of that annoying Reaper grenade harassment to the mineral line. I think the Adepts should be able to get one more shot on it. They're down goes, but it's done its job at this point.
Yeah, seeing that Robo, that's the big deal of that Reaper. It's not made to get damage done, it's made to get scouting done. The damage part is an absolute afterthought, and seeing that Robo does open up quite a few possibilities Creator to be aggressive, or just to be very passive, get your Observer out, tick all your boxes. But the fact that he's going for 3-gate behind it and a very quick Robo Bay, maybe he's going to play the map, which I love that kind of stuff. Being aggressive, being in your face. And given how well the Colossus drop worked in that first game, hey, maybe throw it out again.
That of course does beg the question of what exactly Maru is going to be up to, as Maru did open up with a Raven in that game where he was up against a Colossus drop, which, as you were saying, Raven can do really, really well versus a Warp Prism in general. The Interference Matrix also something to be scared about. But at the same time, Creator did such a great job with the control on the Warp Prism and the Colossus and how he actually positioned those units. making sure that he was always ready to pick it up at an absolute moment's notice. The interference matrix is a projectile that does take a split second to actually connect with the warp prism, so you have some time to actually react to it. If he can keep all of that up, then this Colossus drop that he's going for yet again could very well be just as effective.
Yeah, and I mean, given how well it worked in that other game, the game previous to this one, I'm not surprised he's doing it again. I mean, this is a far different map for it, but maybe he just felt that, hey, I felt very comfortable with this. It worked. Let's go with it. Let's see how it goes. Because his initial game plan of trying to play the macro games and stuff, well, it wasn't good. And if you are the guy getting to dictate what goes on, hey, that's much better if you are a mentally sort of fragile player like Creator is. If it's going well for you, keep on doing it.
Yeah. Also keep in mind, in the last game, we were talking about following this Colossus drop, seeing how much damage it was getting done, and that finally, after it finally got pushed back, that was when Maru went for his big push out, and we were looking back to see, okay, but does Creator have enough back at home? And he was on that kind of verge of getting up enough, but he had very greedily teched up to 3 additional disruptors. We're going to keep an eye out on that production tab to see what he's doing behind all this, because already a good start, finding 3 SCVs and keeping that Warp Prism alive. The addition of this Cyclone to try and do a little bit of extra damage, also trying to get the lock onto the Observer, interestingly enough, is going to be able to find that.
That was awesome, by the way. Like, moving back the Cyclone, but moving the Raven toward the Observer, keeping it in vision, keeping, the detection on it while saving the Cyclone at the same time. Very nifty little move, and he was very decisive about it as well. But this Colossus, it has been spotted out now. And so far, it's dealt a lot less damage than in the previous game, and there's no gold base on the way either.
Yeah, not finding additional workers, and also has not found really too many Marines or anything. He hasn't softened those up, so that means that this attack that's moving out here from Maru is a little bit larger and also hitting a little bit faster than the last time. He is going to try and engage against these units over here, finds a couple of those Marines. In comparison to the last game, right now, Creator has 3 Colossus. And not a whole lot else right now, Ben. It is actually a really scary spot.
It's a super scary spot. So unfortunately, we're having a few internet issues over here. Hopefully we can get past them again pretty damn soon. But yeah, this game, it's lining up to be a cracker here, because we have Maru just moving out across the map, just being rather fierce here. And that's going to be a really difficult push to hold, because this is 6 minute 40 into the game, and he's going at a point where it's like super early, but also super short map. This third base might be forfeit. In fact, I don't know what Creator actually has on the field to deal with this kind of thing.
No, I'm in full agreement right now. I was talking about the 3 Colossus, and the reason why I just said 3 Colossus is the Gateway army is actually pretty insignificant right now. It's a couple of Stalkers. I think it's going to be going up to like 4 Stalkers, 3 Adepts, 2 Sentries. It's a really, really small force. He absolutely has to do something, try and meet this army and delay this to buy some time. I think that's going to be a critical part of this.
3 Colossus out on the field actually is more than I thought he was going to have. Does he have Thermal Lance? Can you check here?
Yes, we do not have Thermal Lance, and it's actually not even researching right now.
All right, so guys and girls, we're just checking out what's going on in the game right here, so we get to tell you a little bit about like the upgrades and stuff while these guys are sorting out the internet over here. But yeah, he's getting Blink on the way, he's getting +1 attack on the way, his Creator. 3 Colossus out in the field, which is a scary number, but without Thermal Lance, they're going to have to go toe-to-toe with these tanks and the Marauders, and there is a Raven on the field that hasn't utilized any of its energy yet in this game. So even though Creator does have a decent-looking army, it's absolutely missing some of those pivotal upgrades that it absolutely needs to hold this off.
Yeah. Also, actually, funnily enough, right at the moment of the pause, we also see that Maru was already throwing down a 3rd command center as well. So going to be pretty important to see how all of this ends up playing on out. But yeah, players are just going to be, I guess, waiting for some of the lag to subside, and we will be ready to get back into the game, see how things shake out with this kind of force moving out.
Creator is saying the ping is slowing down now, which is a good sign for him. We don't want to shake him up at all, and we don't want this day to go on for a super long period of time either. I know we had a long day 1, a quite zippy day 2, but these players, they've been playing all day, man, and yeah, to get here, to have it all be kind of lumbered down like this, we just want it to go smooth from here. We want to see some StarCraft. Yeah,
definitely grateful that all this is noticed before the fights, though. That is going to be a huge plus coming into this.
All right, Creator's ready, Maru's ready. Hopefully the referee's ready this time to just be like, hey, okay, we're going to start.
All right. Well, as soon as this game gets started, we're going to resume game number 4. Remember, Maru currently leading up 2-1. If he is able to make this push out happen, if he is able to take a significant advantage in this game, that could spell doom and gloom and disaster for Creator on his final lifeline here in game number 4. So very, very important that Creator is able to try and make this kind of opening work yet again. Looks like the game is resumed, and we're going to hop immediately back into the game as the fight looks like it's going to be breaking out at any moment. Siege already sieging up over here for Maru, and we're going to see Creator trying to meet this army down here on the low ground. A nice spread over here from Maru with a lot of these units. The Colossus doing a lot of damage from the back lines, but once that gateway front line is taken care of, there's not a lot to protect those Colossus, so they have to back up, and Creator has to buy himself some more time to warp in more units, but he's only got 3 warp gates right now.
Fun choice, by the way, to go for the turrets, right? Dealt a lot of damage, did some tanking as well. Maru getting in between the bases here with these tanks, and the Colossus from the north moving down that ramp. That's going to be a big target for Maru. Creator's trying to micro on 2 fronts here. He's also losing a lot of probes somewhere. I don't exactly know where that's going on, but Maru dealing a lot of damage here at this front. Cybernetics core goes down as well. It looks like something happened in the natural.
Yeah, some kind of big damage happening, but right now we see now the Warp Prism trying to micro both the Immortal and the Colossus, trying to sneak an attack on the Siege tanks, not able to find it, loses one of the Colossus. The Immortal also having a hard time finding the connections on those Siege tanks. Another Siege tank moves forward. Maru already climbing a bit in supply.
He can't warp in Stalkers. He's got no Cybernetics core. This?
Oh no.
Like, this Viking goes absolutely uncontested. Creator knows it, so he has to sneak them on out of there, but this is a horrible position to be in for Creator.
There's literally not a unit that he can make to deal with the Viking, and the Warp Prism goes down, the Colossus goes down, the stutter-stepping Marines take out the final Colossus, and Maru takes out Creator 3-1.